I know that in the last video that I posted, I talked about the importance of creating content instead of just consuming it. But as I highlighted in that video, I still think that consuming art is very important because you get inspired by it, and you as a person still need to consume some art as well. You can't just create 24/7. So I wanted to make this video and to just highlight some of the art that I consumed that really inspired me and that was really good, and I would recommend it to you. And art, be it music, movies, shows, etc., that books as well, that I would recommend to you. I have my notes here. I don't know if you can see them. Also, you can see my nails. I'm sorry I didn't have time to repaint them. I bought this. It's Chanel. I bought this Chanel nail polish. I was expecting it to last for very long because it costs like 30 something euros. It doesn't. I like the packaging, but it lasted me like a few days. So it is not always, I don't think it's always the case. Also, it's fake. Look at this. It's not even actually this type of cap. It actually is so ugly. I thought it was just like this, and then you open it and it's a nail polish, but no, it's all a lie. Anyways, now that my tangent is over, I'm actually gonna discuss the art that I have consumed. Before that, just for one more second, I do want to say that this isn't my original idea, of course, and I was inspired by Carissa Love. I love her channel here on YouTube, and I saw other post similar stuff. And I, of course, saw other content creators post similar stuff. So, I'm not saying that I'm original. I want to start with music because music is very important to my life. I have to have a soundtrack for everything. And the first album I want to highlight is this. Can you see it well? I really like, so this is the vinyl of Princess Mononoke soundtrack, which is a Studio Ghibli movie that I really enjoyed. I watched it recently with my sister, and it's Studio Ghibli are a studio from Japan that I grew up with. One of my favorites was Princess Mononoke actually, so this one, and Laputa Castle in the Sky was another one of my favorites, as well as Nausicaa from the Valley of the Wind. I think that if you haven't heard of them, I would definitely recommend to check it out. It's the art style is absolutely beautiful, and usually those movies have meaning behind them that is very important and anti-war usually. And the music is absolutely beautiful. There is like this insert. I'm not sure if the camera focuses on the things I'm showing you, but yes, it's a very nice art. I actually got this as a gift for the Valentine's Day, so thank you. So this is first thing that I wanted to talk about. Also, it is composed by Joe Hisaishi, I believe. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but he composed almost every Studio Ghibli movie, and every one of those soundtracks is amazing. I really like to listen to them while I'm studying. It just puts me in the mood to be productive, and it's just very nice. Or reading when I don't want to listen to the lyrics. And on vinyl, it sounds amazing. I love playing this record. Second album that I want to mention, I don't have on any physical media as of yet. I do like to collect physical media of stuff that I really enjoy. I'm planning to get a vinyl version of this album, but it is pretty popular nowadays. It's by Chappell Roan, and it's The Rise and Fall of Midwest Princess. I believe that's the full name of the album. To me, that album is very theatrical, and I really enjoy theatrical music like Kate Bush or theater music, I guess, Chappell Roan, etc., or Marina and the Diamonds with some of her work. And Chappell Roan I'm really happy for her that she gained the popularity that she deserves recently. I have been aware of her for quite a while when she released Pink Pony Club a few years ago. How long ago was it? At this point I'm not really sure, but a few years ago I knew who she was, and if you haven't heard of that album, I'm sure you have heard some of the songs like Hot to Go or Casual. What other hits are there? There's a lot. Almost every song on there is a hit, but that album is all about self-expression and it's just very fun. And the last album I wanted to mention today before we go into the other categories is actually an album in Russian. This is the back of it. I got this vinyl for 10 euros or something, and this is almost 50 years old at this point. It's from 70s. It is Зеркало души. It's Зеркало души by Alla Pugacheva, who is one of the biggest Soviet era stars. And this album, maybe I will play a few inserts of the music from it. It's just very theatrical as well, very beautiful. I think if you don't have to understand the lyrics to understand the concept of the album and just get the energy from it. It's full of energy, especially the first song, Buben Shamana, and I really like Песенка про меня. Песенка про меня? A little song about me. I guess that's the translation. And yes, I don't listen to a lot of Russian music, but this album just... It's a very magical experience. It's a very magical experience. I would recommend you to check it out. I would definitely recommend you to check it out, especially if you like Kate Bush or... who else is similar? Actually, some European singers like Dalida or Marinella in Greece. I think they're kind of similar. Now, let's go to the things that I have read. First I want to mention is that I read George Martin's The Ice Dragon. It's a short story by the creator of Game of Thrones and Dance of the Dragon. I really enjoy those shows. I have been enjoying them since they've been releasing, and I should not have watched them in... I don't know how old I was, but very, very young. Just started school, basically, I think. So maybe I shouldn't have watched them, but I watched them from day one, and I rewatched Game of Thrones so many times. I remember when season 8 and season 7 were coming out and talking to people in school discussing those things. So I wanted to read more by George Martin while waiting for his next book to be released, which has taken forever. And I decided to read The Ice Dragon. It was a very beautiful story. It's a short story. I think it was made mainly for children. And it's about a girl who was born in winter and her mom passed away, giving birth to her. And so she was seen as a child of winter, as cold, and she had an affinity with old ice creatures such as ice lizards and ice dragons, and there was an ice dragon that would always come to her village and she would befriend it. And I think you should read the story. It's pretty short. I don't have a physical version of the book. I read it as an ebook, but it's very beautiful. It's tragic at the end. But yeah, I think it's a very good children's story with morale and a message, a deeper message behind it. Now, talking about the winter motif, because I don't know why I was feeling very wintry, I guess. Well, it's February, This is another book that I read in February. So, this is Yasunari Kawabata's Snow Country. And what can I say about this book? This is my sister's book, actually. She recommended it to me and lended her book to me. So I already finished it, so I will give it back soon, promise, if you're watching this especially. So, what can I say about this book? The book is really... There is no main point, it's about nothing, kind of. The book is just vibes, to be honest. The main character is not the best. There isn't actually any characters that are very morally correct or good people. But at the same time, I really enjoyed this book. So this book is about a mountain town in Japan and a geisha that works there, as well as a man from Tokyo who comes to that town to escape Tokyo lifestyle, let's say, and to enjoy winter. And really, the main thing that really kept me going with this book is the way that it is written. It just... You actually feel like you're being transported to that city. You can feel the energy around that town, not city. You feel like you're there, like you're watching the characters in this book interact with each other. And it's just written in such a beautiful, poetic way, but at the same time it's quite simple compared to some classics that I also enjoy and have. Because especially when I was just starting to get into classical literature, a lot of the times I had to just sit there with a dictionary or with my phone to look up words that I was reading, because a lot of them are very extra, or I guess it's just that the language was different back in 1800s, where a lot of classical literature is from. It's much more understandable from what I remember. This is not modern writer, but last century to this century, so pretty modern. And it's just written in a very beautiful way. I really enjoyed this book. I would definitely recommend you to read this, especially if you want to feel that winter energy while it's still winter, because technically winter doesn't stop today. Today is 28th of February, so the last day of winter on the calendar. But winter actually stops somewhere in March, like 22nd, somewhere around that. Don't quote me on that, but it's still winter, technically. So you still have some time to read this, and if you live on the other hemisphere, you know what I mean, like in Australia or something, you have winter coming now, so you can also read this. And yes, it was a very nice read. Also, this book is very beautiful, like the edition. It's in like cloth bound, whatever, has this motif. I also left a little message in it. I like to write in books. So yeah, a very beautiful book. I'm really interested in trying other books from this author. Now, this was the two books that I've read in February. I didn't really finish any other books. I am reading a few others, but finishing them, no. I have like 5 books that I'm reading at the same time. However, what I do have is a newspaper. So also, thank you to Carissa Love for inspiring me to get this. But this is a newspaper from France. As you can see, it's pretty big. Doesn't fit in the... if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen some of it. Also, it has a crossword I'm not sure how it's called in English. This and in the back, at the back. So very eclectic grandma. How is it called? I'm not sure. This is around €8. It's like $9, and you get it every month. So you don't have to, of course, subscribe. But it's a newspaper that discusses a lot of art, a lot of esoteric moments, a lot of more magical rituals. So this one was on basically beauty. Most of this one from February 25 was about beauty and art, and I really enjoyed it. It became you can see that I have I can't, there's no space for it. Oh no, uh, this is not working well. You can see that I have highlighted so many things in this, and it's very beautiful actually. I'm really enjoying, I really enjoy having physical media in my hands. So there were some rituals here that you can do, and one of my favorite sections is actually art that they recommend for you. So there is a whole page on recommendations, and here they are recommending different books, different podcasts, different movies. I haven't watched any of them yet, but I definitely will. And I already have the new edition of this magazine in my room. Where is it? Here it is. I think it arrived yesterday. This one is inspired a lot more by art from Japan and China, I think. But I haven't read it yet, so excited to start because I actually really enjoyed it. And if it sounds interesting, check out their website, and it's not very expensive, so I also am kind of inspired to start my own newspaper now. But I told you, you will keep it a secret, and maybe in a month or two I'll have my own newspaper that you can also order. So yeah, that would be nice. Okay, so the last, where is it? I can't find the section. The last section that I want to talk about is movies and TV shows. Actually, you can follow me on Letterboxd. I'll put my name here somewhere because it's quite interesting. I like to keep track of everything in my life. Like, I have Last.fm for music, I have Letterboxd, and I have Serialized, which is not as popular as Letterboxd, but it is for TV shows. The highlight of the months to me was actually Arcane. I finally finished watching Arcane season 2. And it is just such a beautiful show. Especially if you consider that it is based on League, which is not the best video game ever. The show is just, the art style is very beautiful, the storytelling, the characters, the development of those characters. It is one of those shows that actually is worth the popularity that it has. Because honestly, it's a masterpiece. Almost every episode was very good. Like, I was actually very impressed by Arcane. And I watched the first season a while ago, and I don't remember liking it that much, but I watched everything because season 2 came out, and I have to say it's absolutely beautiful. I would love to see more. But I don't think that is gonna happen because, well, all the storylines are basically done. except for Mel, but I think that is not going to be Arcane anymore. It's going to be her own story. But that's good, because Mel is one of my favorite characters. Jinx, I hope is still alive, is another one of my favorites. And yeah, Arcane is one of the shows that was a highlight of the month for me. If you have watched it, let me know what you thought about it and just your comments in general. I'm interested to hear, I'm interested to hear your feedback on everything I'm talking about here. If you have watched it or read it, etc. So, I'm actually gonna open my letterboxd for the movies. I don't think I watched any other shows this month. I can check on my serialized. Yes, I only watched Arcane this month, and even season 1 I started in December. So I don't watch that much stuff. The most I watched was when I was sick in November, I believe. I just watched a lot of stuff back then. From the movies that I want to highlight, 2 of them are animated movies. And the first one is named Flow, and it is by some Baltic studios. I'm not sure, I believe Latvian and Lithuanian. And that movie is so beautiful. Maybe you have heard of it. It's quite an indie animation, and there is no one speaking there. It's all about animals and the flood, and how those animals try to survive, and they have their ship, which is of course probably a reference to Noah's Ark. But at the same time, some parts of the movie I still don't understand. I need to rewatch them, especially the bird one. If you know, you know. But the animation was absolutely stunning, and I actually really enjoyed the fact that there was no people there and that animals did not speak in human language. So for the whole movie there was not one word uttered, and it was still very enjoyable and completely understandable. And the animators did such a great job that you could tell what the animals were feeling or saying, just based on their body language and the sounds that those animals make, which I'm not really sure how they made those sounds. Did they have actual animals, or did they have voice actors for that, or I don't know. There's a lot of options, but it was definitely one of the highlights for animated movies. And another highlight and another animated movie that I really enjoyed is Wallace and Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the first movie of Wallace and Gromit. I believe it is British production, but I'm saying that only because of the vibes that I got from the movie. I have no idea actually. Let me check. So I just checked and I was correct. Wallace and Gromit is a British production, and they call it claymation. Basically, it's a stop motion cartoon that is made of clay. And I know how much effort and time and just resources it takes to make such a beautiful aesthetic movie with clay. And I'm very glad that there are still people doing that in the age of AI art. I don't know if you can call that art. And just in the age of a lot of cartoons, especially ones that are targeted towards children, have absolutely the same Pixar style, that is basically what I call Minions. The Minions style, because everyone looks like they belong in the Minions movies, which is derogatory. I mean it in a derogatory way, because I hate that animation style. I'm sorry if you enjoy it, it's okay, but I just cannot stand a lot of modern animation like Inside Out or Despicable Me, or I'm not sure, there is so many of them actually. But Gromit, the second movie, it follows a dog as main character, Gromit, and Wallace, who is a scientist. He invents a lot of solutions for problems that don't really exist, because there is, I think, a lot of that movie is actually commentary on AI and on just using robots instead of people for production of a lot of things. And it's a subtle commentary, but at the same time, it's very good. And it is a very subtle commentary sometimes. Sometimes it's less subtle. Like that moment when literally Wallace says, nothing could go wrong, right? And then we can see that, well, if you haven't watched the movies, close your ears, cover your ears. But basically the invention of the scientist is used against him for evil reasons. So the movie really is about finding a balance between technology and the physical world. I mean, not really physical world, but manual world without technology. And that you need to find a balance between the two, because technology can be very useful, but it should be seen as that, a tool, a useful tool, and not a replacement for everything in your life. And the amazing animation adds to it. If you haven't watched that movie, I definitely would recommend. Now, for the last movie that I want to talk about, it is, I believe, from 1999, and it's called But I'm a Cheerleader. It's a very camp movie about a cheerleader who finds out that she might be a lesbian, so her family decides that she might be a lesbian, and her friends do as well. And then she gets sent to a conversion camp where the main teacher at the conversion camp is RuPaul from the RuPaul Drag Race. So very good casting, but it's a comedy. I find it very strange that it is still so relevant today after 27 years since it was released, and still there are so many people who find a big problem out of someone's sexuality, etc. And I think it's just a very nice commentary on that, as well as just a very nice movie about growing up. I'm not really sure how those types of movies are called, but it's a comedy, I would say. The stage designs, like the designs of everything, it was just very beautiful. The acting was done very well. I especially liked Graham. I think she fit the character very well. It was funny how gay that movie was. Like, all those people were there to become straight. Then it's just so, I don't know, it's just very camp, the movie. And I do really enjoy those types of movies sometimes. So if you haven't heard of it, definitely do check it out. Just like the aesthetic of the movie itself, just watch this movie for the props and for the aesthetic of it. So this was all that I wanted to talk about in today's video, all the art that I consumed and that really inspired me in February of 2025. And if you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to my channel, watch my other videos. Let me know what you think about this format. Should I continue? Should I do this every month? Or is it... because I do want to hear what you think. Because, of course, this is a diary for me, this channel, but I also want you to enjoy it. So maybe if I'm just rambling to myself for 40 minutes already and no one enjoys this, then... But I do hope that you enjoy this, and I do actually really enjoy this type of content myself, so If you did enjoy it, please subscribe, like it, and yeah, actually share your lists of art that really inspired you in February. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.